Hello, and welcome to today's news discussion. We're covering a range of stories from politics to entertainment. I'm Dana, and joining me is Matt. Let's start with some breaking news in the world of politics. U.S. President Donald Trump recently announced that Abu Bilal al-Manuki, the second in command of ISIS globally, has been killed in a joint operation between U.S. and Nigerian forces. The operation was described as meticulously planned.
That's significant news. What details do we know about this operation and al-Manuki's role in ISIS?
According to the reports, al-Manuki was designated as specially designated global terrorists by the U.S. on June 8, 2023. Trump praised both American troops and the armed forces of Nigeria for their roles in the mission.
So this operation seems to be a major success in the fight against ISIS. Have there been any reactions from other countries or organizations regarding this development?
The reports don't mention specific reactions from other countries, but it's likely that this will have implications for global counterterrorism efforts. Let's move on to another political story. Following Trump's recent visit to China, Russian President Vladimir Putin is set to visit China's Xi Jinping on May 19 for a two-day trip. The visit is expected to focus on strengthening bilateral ties and strategic cooperation.
This visit comes hot on the heels of Trump's trip to Beijing, where trade and geopolitical tensions were discussed. What are the potential implications of Putin's visit?
The Kremlin statement indicates that Putin and Xi will discuss further strengthening their comprehensive partnership and strategic cooperation. They'll also exchange views on key international and regional issues.
Given the current geopolitical landscape, with Western sanctions on Russia, China remains a key economic partner for Russia. How might this visit impact their relationship with the West?
It's likely that their discussions will touch on navigating these sanctions and possibly solidifying their economic and strategic ties. Let's shift gears to a different story. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the world's largest aircraft carrier, has returned home to Virginia after an 11-month deployment. This was the longest deployment since the Vietnam War.
That's quite a lengthy deployment. What were some of the key operations the USS Ford was involved in during this time?
The USS Ford supported the U.S. war with Iran and the capture of Nicolás Maduro when he was Venezuela's president. The ship and its accompanying destroyers docked at Naval Station Norfolk with about 5,000 sailors.
Wow, 5,000 sailors waiting to see their families for the first time since June. That's a significant human interest aspect to this story. Let's move on to another news item.
President Trump announced that a leader of the Islamic State group was killed in a joint U.S.-Nigerian mission carried out on Friday night. The details about the specific leader weren't elaborated on in the initial reports.
This seems to be another significant strike against ISIS. Do we know if this is related to the killing of Abu Bilal al-Manuki, or is it a separate operation?
The reports don't explicitly link the two operations, but both involve joint U.S.-Nigerian efforts against ISIS. Let's continue with another story. A Rwandan suspect charged in connection with the 1994 genocide, Felicien Kabuga, died in a hospital while in custody in The Hague at the age of 91. Kabuga was declared unfit to continue standing trial 3 years ago.
Kabuga's case was significant given his alleged role in the genocide. What were the circumstances surrounding his death?
The reports indicate that Kabuga died in custody, but they don't provide detailed circumstances about his health or the cause of death.
The international community has been working to bring those responsible for the Rwandan genocide to justice. Kabuga's death marks the end of a significant case.
Let's move into some economic news. SpaceX shareholders have approved a 5-for-1 stock split ahead of a much-awaited IPO, potentially set for June 12. This move is expected to raise significant capital.
SpaceX is preparing for a major stock market debut. What are the implications of this IPO, and how might it impact the company's future?
The IPO could be one of the largest in history, and it's expected to list on NASDAQ. This will likely attract significant investor interest and potentially raise a substantial amount of capital for SpaceX.
That's exciting news for investors and space enthusiasts. Let's discuss another economic story.
The UAE's energy minister clarified that their exit from OPEC and OPEC Plus was a sovereign, strategic decision based on a comprehensive assessment of their production policy and future capabilities.
This decision was likely driven by economic considerations rather than political motivations. What are the potential implications for the global oil market?
The UAE's decision reflects their long-term economic vision and evolving energy capabilities. It might signal a shift in their energy strategy and production policies.
Let's move on to some news about transportation.
North America's largest commuter rail system, the Long Island Railroad in New York, has shut down due to a strike by unionized workers. This is the first strike in 30 decades.
The strike affects nearly 300,000 commuters. What are the key issues driving this strike?
The reports indicate that 5 unions were involved in the strike, but the specific demands or issues weren't detailed in the initial coverage.
Strikes of this nature can have significant disruptions on daily life and the economy. Let's see if there are any updates on this situation.
Let's move on to another economic story. NextEra Energy is in talks to combine with Dominion Energy, creating a $400 billion utility giant. This deal would be significant in the U.S. energy sector.
Such a large merger would have substantial implications for the energy market. What are the potential benefits and challenges of this proposed deal?
The combined entity would be one of the largest utilities in the U.S., potentially dominating the booming AI-driven power demand. But regulatory approvals will be crucial.
Let's shift to some sports news.
Manchester City won the FA Cup by beating Chelsea 1-0, with Antoine Semenyo scoring the winning goal in the 72nd minute. This completed an English Cup double for City.
Semenyo's goal was described as a brilliantly improvised backheel finish. What were the key moments in the match?
The goal transformed a cautious contest into a more open game, with both sides creating chances in the final 20 minutes.
This win marks Manchester City's 8th FA Cup title. Let's move on to some entertainment news.
Hollywood actor John Travolta was surprised with an honorary Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival, just before the screening of his directorial debut, Propeller One-Way Night Coach.
Travolta was emotional about receiving this honor, saying it's beyond the Oscar. What does this award signify for his career?
The honorary Palme d'Or is a Lifetime Achievement Award recognizing Travolta's contributions to cinema. It adds to his legacy as a renowned actor and now director.
Let's discuss another entertainment story.
The Eurovision Song Contest Grand Final took place in Vienna, with acts from 25 countries competing. The event was held under tight security, and despite raining weather, fan enthusiasm remained high.
There were also protests, particularly regarding Israel's participation. How did the organizers handle these protests?
The reports indicate that security was tight, but there weren't detailed accounts of how the protests were managed. The focus was on the performances and the festive atmosphere.
Eurovision is always a blend of music and politics. Let's wrap up with some tech news.
YouTube and Snap have settled a lawsuit with a school district that alleged their platforms contributed to social media addiction among students. This is the first of over 1,000 similar cases nationwide.
The settlement is significant as it sets a precedent. What are the potential implications for other social media platforms and their liability in similar cases?
The agreements resolve claims that these platforms created addictive features harming students. This might lead to changes in how social media companies design their platforms and interact with younger users.
As we wrap up today's discussion, it's clear there's been significant news across various sectors. Thanks for joining me, Dana, in covering these stories.
Thanks, Matt. It's been a pleasure discussing these stories with you. Until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.